Atlanta real estate is ham. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they say. It's a crazy place. It's the personalities that flow in this. Ooh, boy, I tell you. And I love it. I love it because every day is something different. We're someone different. But let's talk about what's going on the national side.
It's called the stock market and your 401ks.
That's President Trump last night in Pennsylvania touting a strong economy. The American housing market still seeing some strain. Young American buyers finding themselves being priced out of the market as the age of the average home buyer is rising, now at 40 years old, according to Realtor.com. The median home price in the western U.S. now at nearly $630,000. That's more than $500,000 for the Northeast as well. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is now sitting at roughly 6.2%, as you can see.
And give you perspective for Atlanta, we're more towards 4.25 median rate, right? Housing cost of average sale, 425, roughly.
6.19%. Joining me now is U.S. Housing and Urban Development Secretary Scott Turner. Secretary, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And we're talking about housing ahead of the Federal Reserve's decision on interest rates, where we are expecting a cut in rates later today. Would you expect a cut in short-term rates by the Fed to trickle to the mortgage market anytime soon?
Yes, ma'am. We are expecting that today, and we're hopeful that the Fed will cut rates and continue to cut them. You saw the president yesterday in Pennsylvania talking about the economy. Maria, you know, as when we came in, our economy was in terrible shape, but just in a very short period of time, under President Trump's leadership, our economy is now thriving. But I believe next year, because of the policies and the working family tax cuts, the largest tax cut for working families in American history, next year, families will see the real benefit of the policies that have been enacted. And at HUD, you know, we've helped over 1 million people so far this year in home ownership, either first-time home buyers or refinancing their home. Over 500,000 first-time home buyers at HUD through our FHA program have now gotten on a path to home ownership. And so as we see this shift coming and this paradigm coming, there's good news on the horizon. Much work yet to be done.
And yet people are still feeling strained about inflation and high prices, and particularly in the housing market. What would be your best recommendation in terms of policy to open up this market to people further?
Well, Maria, let's look at the root of it. You talk about during the Biden administration, the failed immigration policies, and that has really had a tremendous impact on our housing supply and housing affordability. When you have over 12 million people coming over our borders unchecked, unvetted, this is straining our housing market from a supply standpoint, from an affordability standpoint. HUD just put out a report and
so I'm gonna stop him real quick. He's not wrong. Okay, so there are loans right now that you can get if you have a green card, or if you have like a social and you not necessarily a citizen. You could just get one of these loans to either buy, rehab, or flip a house. I had a property that they attempted to go under contract with, and actually we did go under contract on this. The contract fell apart just before closing, and we knew what was going on. You had people that were immigrants. They wasn't from here. They were buying it under a program, but the program was buying the house and leasing it back to them. Okay. And that was done through some type of Cherokee Foundation, something like that. But you have these type of programs that are out here. So when you talk about a strain on how many houses that are out here, yes, that is a thing. We've got nationals, foreign nationals of various countries who are able to purchase residential properties, and I'm not making it up. Atlanta, not Atlanta, New York experienced some of the biggest booms when it came to housing condos but that money came not from the U.S., not from citizens, not from billionaires like everybody say. It came from over the seas, over water. So over the water, you had Chinese nationals, you had Korean nationals, you had Russian nationals buying up high-end condos in the city of New York. Now, since New York is such a liberal city and welcomes just the influx of any and everyone coming from any country, more of a globalist place, which is really the foundation of capitalism here, but such a globalist place, Now, that doesn't shake anything in New York real estate. So, in some ways, I could see a Madani winning and how he won because the influx of foreign money in New York is so huge. So you follow the money. This is not just when I do these programs. You got to realize this is not just about. I don't just talk politics because I like to talk politics, because I kind of feel there is a lot of ways and things going on in the political space that you can structure and position yourself for in your at home, in your business, in what you choose to do, whether it's real estate, whether it's resale, whether it's AI, whether it doesn't matter, loans. You got to know this stuff because a lot of lenders, a lot of people didn't even know that you can get those loans. You don't have to be a citizen to get a fix and flip loan or a DSCR loan or a regular loan. Okay, so keep that in mind. And when you have this influx, which Atlanta experienced it also, of foreign money coming in, you're gonna have them buying. So when you make it hard now and you're straining illegal immigration, and then you're talking and dealing with at the same time fighting China and America first, which I am all for. I'm a conservative person. I'm all for, but when you do that and you wonder why the market starts to level out, you got to realize this is the cost of doing business. This is the cost of politics. This is the cost of it. The cost of politics says that, yeah, I'm going to address these issues going on, and it may have some immediate effects on my monetary system, on our economy. But there's so much money, if you look at it and follow the money, that can be made just realizing and studying where the government is going and where that foreign money flowing into the U.S. is going. Because you got to believe it. Even with Trump's ranting and raving and coming at illegal immigration the way he is, we're still going to have money that is so entrenched in our economy, that's foreign money, that's so entrenched in our economy, whether through real estate, whether through real estate land, same thing, or whether through lending, still going to be so entrenched in our economy. I don't even think it would actually happen. I think sometimes we talk about these things to bring knowledge and for us to enlighten ourselves on it so we know. But I know loan officers that probably would be mad at me talking about the fact that you can get a loan and you don't have to be a naturalized or a legal citizen in this country. You don't have to be a citizen here. You can still get a loan, just that you can freaking get a fake, not a fake, you get a real Social Security card. And some of these loans don't even care. They don't care. The lenders don't care. So it's affecting this lending business. Don't get it twisted. It's affecting real estate.
Between 2021 and 2024, the foreign-born population in our country in just 3 short years is 6 million people, which is the most in that period of time in American history. And so we cannot forego the thought that because of illegal immigration, because of people coming to our country, prices have risen, supply has been squeezed, but we're working very hard at HUD, along with the president and other leaders in the administration, to bring down the cost and raise the supply when they're doing it through interagencies. But we need the Fed to cut rates. We need to continue to deport illegals that are taking houses from the American people. So we're very intentional and focused about it at HUD and across the administration.
Yeah. And that is the reason that you recently launched this new hotline for Americans to report any potential illegal migrant or criminal living in public housing, right? Your department finding foreign-born residents account for 60% of the growth in rental demand, Secretary?
Oh, yes, ma'am. You just showed that article. I'm glad you did, in New York and also in California.
Wow, 60% of rental demand growth came from foreign-born residents. I keep telling y'all, like, that's it. See, it's easy. We used to make the joke where we'll say, okay, a Mexican or a Spanish, or look, y'all don't like to say, well, a family, okay, African, it doesn't matter, okay, Italians, but they're clustered in one house. And they're clustered in that home, and you're like, man, you can have 3 or 4 people living in that. Now, we say Mexicans because, honestly, we saw Spanish people doing it before anybody else was doing it, And if Africans do it, Africans do it. If Arabians or Middle Easterns do it, they do it. But pretty much we saw Spanish people doing it more than anything else. And they would have 3 or 4 or 5 of them living in one house. And families living in that house, or a large behind family living in that house. Now, what made it, you wonder how they were able to do that. One person was able to get that loan and move, and hey, this is the family house. Everybody stays here. That's still, that property, that could easily have been a property that a American could have gotten. But no, they lost to the fact that a foreigner who was here, probably on a visa or green card, because they'll come, they work here and send the money back home. And if they have family that came with them, all their family will come here. They'll have some family over there that'll send the money back home. They'll build their thing. They'll build their compound. They'll build their house. They'll build that thing. And that's how the money runs. So our US dollars actually leave out, and then you're talking about residential pieces of property that are here. It happens. It really does happen. And people don't know how much it does. You don't know that house you were probably bidding for, that house you wanted. During 2020, when COVID, everybody was bidding against people. You don't know. You don't know. But the loans allow that to happen. And because there is no follow-up, when you talk about HUD, there you have it. HUD is, they're dealing even with the public, they're dealing with the public housing portion of that. And imagine now when you have things like Section 8, which is more localized, imagine how many Section 8 people actually don't get what they're looking for because you're dealing with foreign influences, or people that are here turning around and renting a place. You know, imagine that. So let's keep this going real quick.
There's no coincidence that when you have unfettered access for illegals to come into your city, to come into your state, that you're going to have these problems with illegal immigration. 100% of the cause of rental growth in New York and California is due to illegal aliens coming into our country. But this hotline that you alluded to that we launched at HUD is through our Office of Inspector General. Maria, we care about the people that live in HUD-funded housing, in particular in our public housing authorities. Those families need to feel safe in their homes, safe in the properties that they're renting. And so we understand that it's hard to report things, but we have a vehicle now with our HUD crime hotline for people to report any sex trafficking, drug trafficking, illegal aliens, illicit things going on, nefarious activity. And I want people to understand this is confidential. You can do it without fear because we want to know what's going on in public housing authorities so we can root out crime, root out illegals, and serve the American people and the American people only.
And you also recently rolled back more Biden-era guidance that you said was favoring Afghan refugees. Tell me about this. How are immigrants impacting the housing market from Afghanistan?
Yes, ma'am. And, I'm glad you brought that up. And, Maria, I know I'm not supposed to do this on TV, but I want to read this so the American people, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, understand what's going on during the Biden administration. Our HUD, Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity Office, we have taken down guidance that during the Biden administration encouraged landlords and property owners to forego regularly required credit checks for refugees so they didn't have to do credit checks. It encouraged landlords and public housing authorities to exempt Afghan refugees from occupancy limits so they can have as many people as they wanted living in HUD-funded housing. Also advised landlords and property owners to evade the fair housing laws, which we're supposed to uphold, evade the fair housing laws by publishing marketing materials in languages other than English so that they could market to Afghan refugees.
Wow.
That was
Wow. And this is during Biden's administration. Wow. If you've heard about this before, leave a comment below. I'm very curious. I've never heard about that before. I had no idea. Wow.
Going on during the Biden administration, but we have since withdrawn that and torn that guidance down to restore guidance that is for the American people.
That's incredible. I mean, the Housing Department temporarily pausing that policy initiative to reform funding for homeless Americans. Also, this is being challenged by 2 lawsuits over a policy that, quote, mandates only 30% of the agency's continuum of care funding can be used for permanent housing. That's down from roughly 90%. Secretary, explain the program. Why is it being challenged?
Yes, ma'am. So this is our Continuum of Care program. which we put out a fiscal year 2025 new competitive notice of funding opportunity. It has been withdrawn, but we are not fettered by this, Maria. We will make the necessary technical assistance changes, but we are intentional and we are determined to transform this so that we can serve the American people that we're supposed to be serving, in particular, our homeless population. And it's very disturbing that those that have put this lawsuit, the groups that put this lawsuit up, are more concerned about their own access, their own profit, their own political agenda, other than being concerned about the homeless men, women, and children that we have been called to serve. And so we are determined that we will put this notice back up. We will transform this policy, and we will not only house people, because the Housing First model during the Biden administration is a failed model, and that's what they're defending, but not only will we house them, but we will put the axe head to the root and say, hey, the root cause is mental instability, mental illness, drug addiction.
All right, cool. So we're gonna bring that to a halt right there, so you guys get a concept. Okay, so what they're saying right now is that a lot of the deficit that's taking place in public housing is because illegal immigrants are taking up the money. That's really at the end. When you're dealing with that in Atlanta and Georgia, we don't have that so much as we have the Section 8 program. So if you know, back in '96 when they were getting ready to get the Olympics into Atlanta, they turned around and did the whole deal where they went through and started clearing out all the hoods in Atlanta, man. All of the hoods, all not the hoods, all of the low income housing, PJs. When we was growing up, we called it PJs. All the PJs, clearing out the PJs, demoing those PJs, and so we deal more with the Section 8 portion, where you get that voucher, that certificate, and then you go out to wherever you're gonna go, and you give them that voucher and that certificate, and they will do your background and all that whole thing, and do the search for you. And that funding, part of that is federal money, part of that is state money, you know? So they will turn around and give that information. They give them the voucher, they write it up. Section 8 just allows landlords to be able to lease their property to people that need a place to live and get paid. And you know already on Section 8, on the first of every month, you're going to have your check. So Section 8 is a solid way to actually lease a piece of property if you have it. You just got to make sure you choose the right tenants. And I've dealt with Section 8 tenants before. I mean, you guys, it's just like everything else. You have good ones and then you have bad ones. And but that check consistently on the first, it changes everything. So a lot of this is affecting the local market. So when I do this, I do it not just to say, hey, it make us think about it, but this is affecting the local market. It's affecting real estate as a whole.